All right, so I'm going to start here. Um, Obviously, this is a recorded video, so I'm not going to take this for a grade. But I would suggest trying it. Just pause the video and trying it if I can ever get my bubble out of the way. Okay, and then that toolbar at the bottom should disappear. All right, so if you pause it now, then you can run through this just as practice. We talked about all of this in the last video. Carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle are two new ones, though. We didn't talk about those. Remember, a reservoir holds things for a long period of time, and an exchange pool holds them for a short period of time. All right. I'm going to skip over that. Carbon cycle. All right. So let's see here. With the carbon cycle, obviously, we need to copy down the title. All right. Okay. So the carbon cycle, this is the basis for all living things. If you watch enough sci-fi, you know that they refer to humans as carbon-based life forms. The original Star Trek even met a silicone-based life form. It was a magma creature or a lava creature. Anyway, but that was Star Trek, But theoretically, perhaps silicone has some similar properties to carbon, so there might be some life forms out there somewhere that are similar but a little different. We just don't know. Sedimentary rocks, fossil fuels, and ocean are carbon reservoirs. Okay, and that carbon is released when those things are disturbed. So, fossil fuels, they take carbon that was basically stored in the earth millions and millions of years ago. Okay? And when we burn those, whether it's coal or natural gas or crude oil, when we burn those fossil fuels to run our cars or to make electricity for our homes or whatever, we are putting that carbon from millions and millions of years ago into the atmosphere. Okay, it is only logical that we are adding extra carbon to the atmosphere that shouldn't be there right now, because these carbon atoms, these carbon molecules, these hydrocarbons that we call fossil fuels, they were buried in the earth millions of years ago. So by burning them now, by pumping them out of the ground or digging them out of the ground and burning them now, we are releasing millions of year old carbon compounds into the environment. And so we are affecting the global climate. Okay. Let's see here. Moving on. Organisms and the atmosphere are exchange pools. Remember, exchange pool means that we hold it for a little bit of time. Photosynthesis helps remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Okay, so if you grow a tree, it takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere during the process of photosynthesis in order to make sugar and the compounds that make up the tree itself, right? Which are also carbohydrates. They're just not digestible carbohydrates. Anyway, so plants take carbon out of the air. However, if you go and you burn that tree to keep warm during the winter, you're putting that carbon back into the atmosphere. So that's kind of a zero sum, right? We have a negative amount of carbon, and then we have an equal amount of positive carbon into the atmosphere. So that balances itself out. But when we're talking about fossil fuels, again, That's carbon from millions and millions of years ago that shouldn't be in the atmosphere now because it was buried. All right, cellular respiration releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And decomposition of dead and organic waste releases carbon. All right, so if you need to pause here and get those down. Remember, you're just copying the highlighted stuff, which admittedly is most of that page. All right, so here's an example. You don't need to copy this down. If I was making it, might even be a little less complicated than this. But we've got the sunlight coming in. The trees are doing photosynthesis. So they're taking the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Okay. They're turning it into leaves. They're turning it into sugar. They're turning it into wood. Okay. And some of that, forest fire over here may turn that back into carbon dioxide and put it back into the atmosphere. Some of it might get eaten by an animal or whatever. Okay. Notice how we have forest fires putting carbon dioxide into the air. We have burning of fossil fuels putting carbon dioxide into the air. Soil respiration, so all the bacteria and stuff living in the soil. Okay. And we have water moving through the ground as well. Here's another example. We have geologic activity like volcanoes. They release carbon dioxide into the air. We have the human influence over here with the factory. We have fossil fuels that came out of the ground. They're being used by humans, and that puts carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We have plant respiration. We have fires. All these things are putting carbon back into the atmosphere. All right. I'm going to skip the video. It's Fuse School Carbon Cycle Part 1. You could look that up. Fuse School Carbon Cycle Part 2. You could also look that up. I think I will post those in the stream, or maybe I'll post the links with this video. And I don't think we need to copy all of this. All living things, carbon is constantly being recycled. Combustion is the burning of fossil fuels. Photosynthesis absorbs. Consumption, carbon compounds is in producers, pass to herbivores and then carnivores. Metabolism, respiration, cellular respiration adds carbon dioxide. Decomposition, we got all that. Okay, that's the Study Jams carbon cycle. You could look up Study Jams. All right, here's another diagram where you would try to match the word with the number. Okay. I just showed you the answer. How are carbon and oxygen cycles interconnected? The oxygen cycle is produced during photosynthesis, which takes in carbon dioxide. Cellular respiration releases carbon dioxide that is used during photosynthesis. So oxygen is produced during photosynthesis and used during respiration, which produces carbon dioxide, which is used in photosynthesis. The two are reverses of each other. Okay, so one produces what the other needs, and the other produces what the other one needs. So they're the opposites of each other. And that brings us to the nitrogen cycle, which I'm at 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause here and we'll do the nitrogen cycle in another video.